give myself a few minutes just to make sure that things are looking okay on my end and that chat confirms that I'm actually going. Okay, close out all the social media stuff I don't need right now. Open up my cheat sheet. Okay. Cool. Get some coffee. Cool. So it looks like Hawaii Beach is confirming that I am live. So thank you very much for that. Let me pour my cup of coffee, and we'll get going. So hello everybody. I'm Joshua. Today is January 1st, 2017. Happy New Year, everybody. We made it. We all survived 2016, and we're on to a new year, and I'm sure it will be a amazing year. Today I'm working on my video game Delver. You can see the website for it there next to my head. The website is delvergame.com. For those of you who don't know about Delver, it is a procedural dungeon crawler with roguelike elements, with fantasy elements, with RPG elements, with first-person shooter elements. It's like a little of this, a little of that, all the stuff I like. Delver is a passion project. There have been two of us working on it. I've been on the project 3 years, and Chad, the main programmer, has been working on it 4 years. We are on Steam Early Access, so if you'd like to support us, you can certainly do that there. If not, we're trying to release sometime this year. We're pushing really hard. So that is kind of what these videos are all about, is me working on that, talking about what we're working on, and pushing towards the 1.0 release. So let me see, look at chat. So Squambles McFlanagan says hello, hello, hello Doofus Digital, hello Elderish, hello Chris. Happy New Year indeed. And Hawaii Beach is making a push for Hawaii to become a mod. And I don't know, I don't really know if I need a mod. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can. I just want to sit here and talk to people who are interested about Delver while I work on Delver. And I've turned up all the auto mod settings, so hopefully that keeps a lot of the stuff out. But if not, future Joshua can worry about that. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Okay, cool. I've been rambling a little bit, but let's do what we always do. Let me go to the command prompt and do my status update. I think this week has been a pretty quiet week. Yeah, it looks like Chad's done a few things. I know some folks have mentioned that it looks like the display for armor wasn't actually showing up in game. So Chad has gone through and fixed that. And then also for myself, I last week was working on a different branch. So if you remember correctly, I was working on feature/durability tweaks. And I don't think I've made any change to that, but let me just sync it. And then we'll do the same thing on that branch. So I'm working on improving how we communicate to the player that their equipment is broken. And I guess to kind of touch base back on that. So I've spoken with Chad. We've kind of basically agreed upon that this current update we're working towards is going to be about one, shoring up the new systems we added last update. So some of those systems came in pretty hot and they need some work. So like for example, I think the fire system needs a little tweaking, but it's an okay place. The durability system needs some tweaking. There's some quality of life improvements people have suggested. I think are probably a good thing. So we're going to work on that. And also, I'm making a big push to try to get Steam Workshop support in for this next update. So those are the two things we're focusing on: shoring up and polishing the systems that we added last update, and adding Workshop support, which I'm really excited about. And hopefully, I'm scheduling this one for a 2-month release cycle. So hopefully without any sort of feature creep, that we can deliver beginning of maybe January, February, March, like the first week of March or so is what we're shooting for. Check back with me, through the weeks as we work on stuff and see how that actually progresses. Um, Chris makes the joke that yes, the fire system came in pretty hot. Yep. Okay. So let me think. I had kept this stuff in a separate branch by itself, um, but I think I spoke to Chad and he was liking the changes that I'm making. So I think I'll just go ahead and merge this into develop. So update from develop. Okay. So what I did is I took the changes that were in develop but not in my branch and I pulled them into this feature branch, and now I should be able to merge this branch back into develop. Actually, Hawaii Beach has Rest in Peace Teamworks in Java. Actually, we, um, I wouldn't say we're best friends, but I got to meet one of the developers on the Robotality team, and he's actually a really smart guy. And they also use libgdx, and they have solved um, some of the Steamworks integration stuff in Java, and they're willing to help us out. So those guys are really, really kind and rad. Squambles McFlanagan says, "Love the new update." Thank you. Yeah, we're trying to make it a good update. Of course, with every new change, there's a possibility of introducing new broken things. But I think this was a good update. I think we added a lot of things that make the game play a little bit differently, and hopefully people are excited about it. Yeah, thank you, Chad. Thank you for being supportive. Like, of course, immediately, like, there's always this knee-jerk reaction to all the new changes that go in, and I was kind of fretting the few days after the update, but I tried not to. I tried to actually just enjoy my holiday and not worry too much about work. But now it's back to work. Back to getting this rolling up my sleeves literally and getting down and getting stuff done. So now let me. So I forget how to do it in the UI. Can I do it here? Do I need like git merge? I didn't type help, but I was close enough. Git merge. There has to be a way to do it. Branch. So this compared to develop. Does it want me to do a pull request? Is that serious? Let me just go through the. Let me see. So it might want me to do a pull request. Yeah, let me just review the changes. Yeah, we'll just review it. Let's just do a pull request. Why not? Um, so, oh, okay. Good thing we're doing a small code review. So I need to remove this debug short sword. So let me do that. Squambles McFlanagan. Okay, so that might be another thing that got messed up with the new enchantment system. With the new enchantment system, we kind of refactored how we show stats for items. So that might be something we're needing to fix. So Squambles McFlanagan is complaining about how the wands now don't show damage anymore, which is something we might need to address. Yeah. Hawaii Beaches. What happened to the Android builds? So yeah, I've spoken about this a lot, but I'll say it again because it comes up every stream. So with Android, we're in a bit of a pickle because um, some of the first. So basically, when Chad started working on the project 4 years ago, he got it to a point that was playable and fun, and he released it on the Android Play Store. And on the Android Play Store, he made enough money off of it to bring me on his contract, um, and which was awesome because then I actually got to work as the artist in a more official capacity, and then he brought me on as partner after that. But the problem is the Android devices 4 years ago that people paid money for. Um, like the some of the support for like OpenGL and the OpenGL shader levels is way isn't as it's the bar is lower, right? So the new version of the framework we're using libgdx, we've upgraded since then. And if we were to update the Android version, we would break a lot of people's older versions, and we're still trying to suss out the correct thing to do there. Okay, so assets, data. Yeah, no, we could fully do mobile builds for Android and iOS, but we're holding up on iOS because we don't think iOS is a good place for early access. And then here, debug, short sword. So I need to delete this entry. Save that. Let me look at my changes in Git. Okay. Actually, wait, I didn't delete too much, did I? Let me just run it just to make sure I haven't broken the world. It's always good to test before checking in. So let me see. We don't manage the LWJGL version. I think it is specifically an OpenGL shader language version. That's hooking us. Let me think. IntelliJ is flickering. Interesting. Is that for everybody, or is that just for Hangman? I think things looking okay. Yeah, Chris is suggesting do separate SKUs. Um, I'm not sure how Android Play actually handles that. It might be something we can do. Um, yeah. Okay, cool. So this is not broken. That's good. Let me check in the changes. Remove debug. Short sword. Commit. Sync. Let's look at my pull request. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, the whole iOS, like the whole mobile market's a weird thing, especially because we're a premium game, as in like you pay money and then we give you a game, which used to be just the way games worked, but that's I guess not the case anymore. So let's look at my pull request. Let's go back to Delaware, compare and pull request. Let's go over my changes. So yeah, so this is me adding the broken textures. Also, there's a new sprite atlas for all the items, which is cool. Putting all the melee items into their own sprite sheet so I can have broken textures. Um, um, yeah, I'm not super worried about like I upgrade my IDE at a fairly irregular basis. Let me see. Okay. So this is just all that looks good. This is the new sprite sheet, which is correct. This is the new sprite sheet definition. This is the new sprite sheet. Again, I might want to tweak those. Chris had some good suggestions, and I should have just thought of those. Actually, I'll just do those right now. So yeah, there's a couple more things I want to do before I actually commit these changes. So let me just go ahead and forget about the pull request for now, and let's just make some changes, and we'll keep working. So let's do some art real quick. Okay, nah, no thanks, Adobe. Um, so I need to open repositories, GitHub, Delver, engineer, assets, Malay. There we go. Zoom in, and I'm just going to actually really just kind of go crazy with this and just leave it as just a broken haft. I think that makes the uh, most sense. So really kind of just tear these down, because basically, if you think about it, if a hammer were to really break in real life, and when they do, actually, they snap pretty much where the metal meets the wood, or where the head of the hammer actually meets uh, the the haft or the shaft or whatever it's called. So I'm just gonna do that and do that. Okay. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Just trying to make it super apparent that this thing is really, really borked, and you can't use it anymore. Okay, maybe go the other direction with that one. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna be quiet. Normally I prattle on and on. Let me think. Just trying to communicate that these are broken, but I don't have a lot of pixels to do that with, so just trying to play around here and find something that works. I can certainly go for a more extreme breakage. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it because as long as it looks good enough, I think that's okay. Um, yeah. So actually, um, Chris brings up a good point. I could make it look. What if I did something like this. They make it look like the wood actually is snapped. I don't know. Right now, I mean, there's either broken or not broken is kind of the current status of things. Um, I don't want to complicate it too much. Again, this is just an effort to make it super clear to the player what's happened. Um, Also, we're gonna also obviously we need to have sound effects to kind of to correspond with those as well. Mhm. Yeah, just trying to find just a nice little happy place where this looks decent, and then I'll call it good. Um, I might actually be okay with actually having the jagged parts actually kind of bend out a little bit more than they do. Okay. Again, I don't want to spend a load of time on this. I just want to make it look good enough. Another point too, I think, was made in chat, and I spoke to chat about it. I think we both agree is right now there is a chance for items to actually start off broken, and I think I want to change that because that's not particularly interesting, right? Because with my changes now, broken weapons are really bad. Broken weapons you don't really ever want to use unless you're desperate. Um, so I think I'm going to make those changes and make it so that items don't spawn broken. Okay. Cool. I think that's gonna have to work for now. So let me just save that. Let me close it. That's cool. Uh, yeah, I think it could go either way. Typically for hammers and for axes, the wood does go all the way through, and then usually you hammer like a spike in the top to keep it nice and um, keep it set nice and firm. And also, I think it makes it easier to replace too. I guess that is, um, I guess one of the benefits that growing up, my mom always lived on a farm, so I'm pretty used to the things you use on a farm, and axes and hammers are one of those things. Um, so talking about not spawning stuff um, with a broken item condition. So let's look at the source code, and I want to say I had made some changes um, on the item, so entities, items, and the weapon class, where we look at um, item condition. I think I also, there's probably import up here for item condition. No. Where else is it used? Item cond. Yeah, item condition. So let's go to where that's defined. Let's just look where it's used. So I'm sure somewhere when we generate the items, we just say the item condition is just pick randomly from here. Maybe the item manager. So get random. Yeah. So yeah, I'm right. So the condition is item condition values at condition. So um, this is an integer, and it is just the length of the values. So the easiest way to fix this would just be to do the length of the values -1, and then you add 1 at the end. Um, so um, -1 +1. So you always get a value between 1 and the maximum. And I just need to, basically wherever this is used, I just need to go through and just do that. So random next int, -1, +1. So it looks like it's done for wands. It's done for armor. It's done for weapons, of course. This is for, what method is this? Random weapon. Okay, so -1, +1. Just kind of trying to work my way through the file, make sure I hit all of them. And making a change like this, I think it's good to play the game a little bit just to make sure that the loot drops we get actually kind of do conform to this. So let's play a little bit of Delver. Right. Uh-oh. Chris is saying I have a mistake somewhere. Let me do a real quick audit. Yep, totally caught it. Thank you. That would not have done a lot of good. That was on weapon too, so that would have been bad. Let me also, let's do this a little bit more, I guess, less random, a little bit more programmatic, or at least a little bit more controlled. I'm gonna put a breakpoint here, so whenever the loot drop system grabs a weapon, we should be able to verify that the condition does fall within the range we think it does. So let me just debug instead of run. Yep. For those of you who don't know, this is basically extreme programming. I'm not sure how many folks actually do it, but it was this suggestion where two people program together and basically one person just like backseat programs while the other person writes software. Um, and it's just there's kind of a weird phenomenon when you're writing code, that sometimes you're so focused on something that you can't see the mistakes you're making, and is trying to solve that. But um, I think it's super inefficient. You can't really afford to have two programmers do the job of one programmer. Hence, that's why we have code reviews. Um, so, so let's see. If I step over, the condition is 2. Um, that's cool. Let me make sure. If I put this in a watch, new watch. Yeah, I think I'm fairly confident on my implementation of that. It's pretty basic. Um, Continue. Okay. Crap. Okay, so it looks like, oh, old breakpoint. Let me remove that. Remove that old breakpoint. Oh, I guess I don't debug as often as I should. Again, I'm not the lead programmer, so I really don't write code very often. So, oh well, not a big deal. Got a slime guy to fight. Okay, let me just hop down to the next level. That should force the loot drop system to go ahead and create loot for the new level. And it didn't generate any weapons. Interesting. Down again. Down again. Nope. Weird. Huh. I guess I'll just keep playing a little bit. I didn't remove my breakpoint, did I? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Is there a way to let's view breakpoints? Let's just turn off all these breakpoints that aren't interesting to us right now. Good thing I stunned him, because otherwise I'd be dead by the time I got back. Attack, which should increase our weapon drop rate. Okay. Chris says, off-topic question, is it not possible to do a push and jump anymore? I have no idea. It might be, it might not be. It's one of those things that we don't really design for, so it may or may not work. I guess I can try one real quick. Let me try to find a spot that would be a suitable push and jump spot. Here, maybe? Yeah, you might be able to push and jump up there, so let me... looks like no. I know we had refactored how explosions work a little bit. Yeah, looks like the potions and explosions won't boost you up anymore. Um, yeah, that's I think the secret area you're speaking of. You can either potion jump or you can actually just teleport. When I redo the dungeon areas, I might remove that. I guess initially I designed some of the dungeon tiles to have areas that are inaccessible because I wanted to make the dungeon feel bigger than it actually was. But that actually has only turned out just to frustrate people, so I think I'm just going to remove it entirely. Um, so I guess there's this expectation from players that if you can see something, you should be able to get there. Um, so, uh, woo. Armor of the Snake, unwieldy armor of the Snake. Oh, I missed him. Crap. I'm surprised I haven't got as many weapon drops. Oh well, I mean that's a problem with the RNG is you never know what you're gonna get. There shouldn't be any areas in the caves you have to potion jump to. If so, it's just created by the RNG. Um, all the tiles I made by hand should be accessible without a potion jumping. And my dagger's broken. Great. Yeah, I didn't notice that, so I definitely need to do something about um, that. Wow, still no weapon drops? Weird. I guess I'll use potion grenades. I want to fix the UX on this too. Um, Crap. Man, I'm in a bad spot now. Weird, so that actually didn't get called. And I got set on fire and died. Okay, weird. So maybe it's not hitting where I think it is, but it looks like. Let me audit the instances where the item condition is actually used, just to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. I thought item manager was the sole source of truth for creating items, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think that should be um, an okay change. I guess the one thing now is you had a 20% chance to find any given um, quality of item, and now it goes up a little bit to 25% because there's a smaller range to choose from, so you're more likely to find better things, which I guess is okay. Portip Gap says, Happy New Year, everybody. Hope the stream isn't about to end. No, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, today is my regular weekly development stream. I do this every Sunday at noon Pacific time, and I typically go from noon to 2. I do a 2-hour stream, just so I can stay on task and try to stay interesting and not bore you folks to death. So there's about an hour and 20 minutes left on the stream. Okay, so let's check in those changes. I think that those are okay. So let me do updated broken item art and broken items should not be loot drop system should not create broken items. Cool. Okay, so I think let's go ahead and do our pull request now. I think this is good enough to merge into the main development branch. So let's do that. Okay, so again, let's review our changes. So this is for items.dat. This just specifies the broken texture and the new sprite atlas, um, which is cool. This is the new sprite atlas definition. This is the new sprite atlas itself. I think. So for weapon.java, I added a broken text property, which is the sprite index to show when the item breaks, and I do something. This is on basically we do a check every time you use it. This is to catch the on break. So if the item condition is broken, this only gets called when the item condition changes. So this should only get called once. And then when things break, we strip the enchantment and the prefix enchantment off of it. And we set the broken text. We refresh the hotbar, so that looks correct. And I set the reach to 3/4 of what it used to be. It looks like I tried having the reach, and that felt pretty extreme. So I think 3/4 of reach, and also the weapon's junk, anyways. This item manager change here is me adjusting the range at which um, the conditions are created. So it's no longer including the broken. So the broken was so the item condition is an enum, and it goes broken, worn, normal, fine, and excellent. So there's the range 0 to 4, and I'm shifting this to be the range 1 to 4. So that's all that change is. Okay, so those look good to me. Create pull requests and merge. Sorry, Chad. Generally, the practice is when you create a pull request, you can't actually merge it back in until you have sign off from a few other developers. But sometimes the way how I see they have reviewers here. But sometimes we're a small project, so that's not always the case. And I guess I don't know. I'm just rambling now. But let's go back to develop. Let's sync develop, and we should see all the new durability stuff in there. So that's cool. Yep. So this shows the merge of my changes. Nice. Let me see. I guess a small point of. Give me a second here. I'm just going to delete my merged branch because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to delete fix archery branch as well because we don't need that anymore. It's nice to go through and clean up some of your old branches, so I'm doing that now. I did it. I mean, it's just me clicking a button to delete, so it's not particularly exciting. Okay, so hopefully that makes some of the durability stuff less mysterious. I still want to do something. I still want to do something to make the break way more noticeable. Because right now, even I didn't notice the break. And maybe an audio cue is good here, but I think also maybe particles would also be useful. Um, ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I agreed, Chris. Yes, sound is good. I don't want to. Generally, do I even have my sound turned on? Let me. Sorry to do this to you guys. Yeah, I guess I do. Let me see if I can just find a suitable sound that's already in in the repo, and then maybe I can just have that temporarily until we actually get a new sound. Because we use PowerUp Audio for all of our sound effects, and we don't want to nickel. We don't want to send them like like every month like a sound or two, a request for a sound or two. I'd rather just batch them all up and when maybe for the 1.0 release just have a bunch of new sounds because I think that makes the most sense for us and for them because they are very busy folks and I don't want to waste their time. Assets, audio, and then here's where I just play a bunch of sounds and try to find what I think sounds okay. So apologies for that. Break. Oh, break wood? No. Mirror. I think we have a clang. Do we have like a really big clang? So I think this is what we normally play when you actually just hit stuff, if I remember correctly. Here, I'm gonna put on my headphones for a second. I normally don't wear them. Yeah, I think that is the clang. Yeah. Um, yeah, and that's the thing too, is I want to find something that's temporary that works good enough, but we might not have that. That's too meaty. That's the exact same one, Joshua. And I don't know why my default sound player is playing. I don't know. I don't know, Windows 10. What are you doing? Wall hit heavy. Open. So there's definitely, this is like a hammer thing, I think. There's definitely some more bass to it, but I don't know if that's quite correct. Yeah, the whooshes aren't right. And the break. Yeah. This might be okay. The pottery break. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Oh well, that was a fun little aside, but I don't think I have. I'm just gonna have to leave it at a to do. Yeah, no, Power Up Audio has done a fantastic job with giving us really good sounds. Um, they're very talented and they're very kind folks. Every time I meet them, they always give me hugs, and yeah, um, and they always ask me too. They always ask me about Delaware. They always remember, which I appreciate. Okay, I could do particles. Ba, 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 ba. Trying to think. Let this sit in my brain for a little while. Um, what I could do, yeah, let's do this. One of the things we did last update is we for the status effects we added some like for example the poison effect. It now creates particles and it does all kinds of cool stuff to let folks know that hey, this character is poisoned. Um, as you can see, there are other status effects there that don't have effects for them, and namely, um, uh, I think the slow effect um, should definitely um, have like maybe ice coming like little snowflakes coming off the enemies just to let you know that they in fact are slowed. Um, which also makes me wonder, can you actually I think you can slow enemies. Let me just look at how the code works for. Um, I think they're called bombs in code. Yeah, those are basically potions. Um, I don't. I think it picks and chooses. Let me look at status effect and see what it does. Status. No. Um, Splash explosion maybe. Splash explosion has a damage type. Okay, that's cool. Um, uh, bu- bu- uh, so it adds an explosion. Let's look at the explosion code. Um, so explosions are an entity, so they should have a damage type. Yeah, so they should. So this in is, yeah, it should be, yeah. So it looks like, but I'm not entirely certain that you can actually put healing buffs on enemies. But we'll see. Um, Pertev Gap says, speaking of sounds, how did you record the weapon sounds for Delver? We didn't. Again, we used Power Up Audio. Let me again, Power Up Audio. Let me plug these kind folks. This is powerupaudio.com. They do all of our sound effects, and they work on like so many things. Like they worked on Necrodancer, they worked on Darkest Dungeon, um, Starcrawlers, which is really sweet. They worked on a lot of games. Super Meat Boy Forever, like they are legit, um, like a legit like audio studio. And I don't know how they decided to work with us, but I'm very appreciative that they have been so good to us. Um, yeah, so let's play around with this slow effect, and let's look at the point. Let's use the poison effect as kind of a guide. To know, I implemented the poison effect, but it's been a little while, so let's just look at how this works. Um, so this is the default constructor, which um, calls with the time. So how much to slow and how for how long. And then we have some ticks or some hooks here. So we want to do there is we're overriding, okay, the the do tick, and make sure I don't mess up that. And also there is a on status begin, and and then I think there's an on status end. These are the main hooks. Why did it auto format? Don't auto format. Um, these are the main hooks that we use on status effects um, to make them do their thing. So basically, when the status first starts, this gets called, and we might want to do some setup logic or something, uh, only once. So for example, here on status begin, I think we do a little particle puff. Um, you know, um, for paralyze, for example, paralyze on status begin, we capture whether the enemy was flying or not. Because the paralyze spell, I'm not sure if folks have noticed or not, but if you paralyze a flying enemy, they will no longer fly until the paralyzation is off. I'm not sure who's done the voice work. It might have been them, or they might have found somebody for us. The status end is called when the status is over. So for example, like again with the paralyzation wand, it checks to see if it was a flying enemy, and if so, it restores its flying capabilities. And then this do tick just um, gets called every frame while uh, the effect is active. So for the most part, this is just used to kind of emit particles at a regular basis. So let's do that. So I'm just gonna start copying some stuff I think I'll need. Um, so this effect particle and effect offsets probably something I'll need. Okay. Because this is the particle I want to use. This is the offset from the center of the afflicted um, entity. Let me see. Let's also, so here I have a do tick and I have a particle timer. And if the particle timer is, so basically at a fixed interval I create particles. That's what I want to do. So I also need to pull in particle timer or particle interval. So let's do that. And that's on tick. So do tick something like this dot particle timer plus equals delta. This is just the delta time. So there's no guarantee that the frame is a fixed length. We shouldn't be. I don't think we. Some folks say we lock it, but we shouldn't be locking it. But this is just to make sure that um, we play nice with ticks of unequal size or length, depending upon how you visualize time. So if this dot particle timer greater than this particle interval. So basically this is just a count up, and once the timer is greater than the interval, we do something. Usually the first thing we do is reset the particle timer. So that way, you know, it functions correctly. I also have this create poison particle, so I'll just make a little helper method here. That is a private void create slow particle. And it looks like it takes a create poison particle. So it takes a actor owner, and it takes what else? A scale? That's weird. I don't know if I need scale right just yet. Let me just leave it like that. Okay. Um, So then basically at a regular interval, I want to call this dot create slow particle. I'm going to pass in the owner. So on a regular basis, this should create a particle, and we have the defaults there, which I copied over, so that's good. Okay. So let me look at this create poison particle, and let me just kind of lift the code that I need. So yeah, it looks like Chad did some math here to handle, because like I guess we have to be mindful of we have to kind of special case the player because for the enemies, when they have status effects applied to them, like we can kind of put the particles wherever. But for the player, we want to make sure that it doesn't obscure their vision. You want to see it. You want to know that, like if you're on fire, you want to know that you're on fire. But we don't want it to like make it so you can't play. So that's why we kind of special case the player. Okay. So I'm just going to do just a basic, just to get this going. So particle P equals cache pools get particle. And let me see. Yeah, so p.text equals whatever texture I want to use. So we probably need a texture for this. So let's open up, it should be particles.ping. Europe. And let's just create some particles to use. We'll just use the ones right after here. And I think I have yeah, this right here is the colors for the snow, from the snow levels. That's a decent enough place to start. So I'll drop it right there. And I guess let's just make this guy a pretty little snowflake. Is my snaps turned on? Okay. So how many pixels do I need to actually represent a snowflake? So I basically want a hex pattern, right? I think that's correct. Something like that. Yeah. Do I know? Yeah, let's pull that in a little bit. Let's round that out a little bit. Let's throw some AA on it for good measure, I suppose. Let me see. That AA isn't doing what I think it's doing. Yeah, let's try that to start. That should be workable. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough for us to keep on working. What if I? Let's not worry about it. Let's not split hairs. Let's just save that and push on. Let me see. Sutin22 says, Joshua, I try to pixel edit. Yes, I love pixel edit. Yeah, if you watch some of my older streams, I certainly use it. Whenever I'm doing like frame-based animation, that's my go-to. I used to use graphic scale for that, but now I've kind of switched over to pixel edit. It's really I really enjoy it. Actually, no, let me just pull it open right now because I need to get the tiled index off of that new sprite sheet. Chris says, I bought a Wacom tablet once, and then I found out I can't draw. Chris, you should have known you can't draw the way before getting a Wacom tablet. But you're in luck because drawing is something you can practice and get better at, and you don't need a lot of equipment to do it. You can practice drawing for pretty cheap. It's a new year, Chris. I officially challenge Chris to improve his drawing skills this year. If you make a concerted effort, you can do it. So the gauntlet has been thrown. I think learning to draw helps you become a better. It helps you. I think for like visual problem solving and communicating, I think it certainly helps. Assets, particles, and the nice thing to do is pixel edit will slice this up for me, and then I can just hit tab, and it will show me what I want to know. So the index for this guy is 83. So that's cool. So ptext equals 83. Yeah, Doofus Digital brings up a great point. Like right now, the Humble Bundle has pixel edit for $1, which is a steal. I think I bought it for the minimum amount of because I think it's you can buy it through their Humble widget if I remember correctly initially, and I paid the minimum amount for it, and I liked it so much I went back and I gave them more money because it's an excellent tool. No, it's all right, Chris. So like with any endeavor, you will be bad. Um, and this year too, I'm going to work. I'm going to try to get myself into a daily art habit to help me improve, which is tough. But I think I can give at least an hour a day to do some sort of art related task, and hopefully that will make me a better artist. Just Yeah, I think the thing with that is don't wait for inspiration. Think of it like a programming task. Think of it like you just have to start working. Like you have to start throwing stuff down on the page. Um, Scale, yeah. And I want to about Fulbright, yeah. I'm making all the particle effects I'm making Fulbright just to let you know that they're not like for me Fulbright kind of indicates that it's not real per se, but it's something magical or something that's graphic in nature. Making particles that represent status effects, not Fulbright, felt weird. I know we had talked about it in the past, but eventually my brain told me that's the route we're going to go. Add p dot x equals owner dot x, p dot y equals owner dot y. This should just drop the particle right in the center of the actor, which is okay. Is there what's this Zmod thing? Ooh, yeah. So this is what Chad is using too. Okay, yeah. I'll probably have to do that eventually. Cool. Very cool, Chris. Yeah. Um, that's exciting. Okay, so I think this is again game dot get level dot spawn non-colliding entity p. I think this should be the very bare minimum for my actual the slow particles to actually work. So let's test it out. Okay, so let's give myself an ice wand. Ice, Joshua, slow down for half a second. Um, then let's spawn in a debug monster, Slow Man. He moves really slow, so I can hit him with status effects. Except for he dies. Monsters. Let's try Slow Man again, but let's just try to barely graze him and not hit him with all this particles. Okay, so that is actually doing what we want it to do. It just creates a particle at his center. The particle has no velocity. The particle has nothing really, but we can fix that. Okay, cool. So that's what this is right here. This ZA is what we use to denote velocity. So I can just say p dot ZA equals 0.004f. To run that. No pressure. Even if Chris only improves a little bit, like I think as long as Chris improves relative to where he starts from, I think that is time well spent.
Over here.
There we go. Oh man, he is really chilly. Look at that. So obviously that's not great, but we can fix that. Um, let's actually fire up the Delve edit, the editor, and I think we can do some stuff. We can prototype some stuff in there to see uh, just to kind of see what effect we're going for. So if I place an entity, a particle system, and if I just do a puff effect, this is just like a nice little one just to kind of illustrate some of the stuff you can do. Um, so what I want to do is, okay, I think there, yeah. So what I want is particle start text is 83, particle end text is 83, particle color should be white. Let me see what that does. Yeah, that's closer. Um, the velocity is, well, let's turn down the spawn rate too. Let's make it, spawn interval, let's make it 15, so it's only a third the speed. And then Chad added this new property called turbulence, which I'm not quite sure what it is, but I want to play around with it and see if it's actually applicable to um, the the new particle we're doing. And yeah, a crazy hippie is also a Seattle local, and I live out in Snoqualmie. We got over an inch of snow. I'm not sure if you guys can see like out my window, but yeah, we got the snow all over the trees, and it's very picturesque, and the mountains look amazing, and all that good jazz that comes with living near the mountains. Okay, so turbulence. Let's play with turbulence. I saw it somewhere. It's under particle physics, turbulence amount. Okay, so Chris, you live in New Zealand. That's like I thought you could go from like the mountains to the ocean in like an hour. Um, no snow in Sweden. Wow, that's kind of interesting. So this is kind of mystery meat, like what these values actually mean. So I guess when pull your value out of a hat, one is always an interesting place to start. And I don't see it doing anything. So let me go down here and turn off. Um, so no random velocity. That should make it go straight up. Let me, um, again, I want to maybe slow down the velocity in the z. Particle velocity, so let me just let me have that. Let me slow down the rate at which they spawn, make them live longer. So I don't see what the turbulence is doing. So maybe one wasn't a good value. Let me try, oh, also this move modifier is 0. Let me try 1 here and see what that does. Ah, okay. This might work. Let me just dial this back. Um, okay. Um, Chad, where are you? I need you to describe this to me, what it's actually doing. Okay, so turbulence amount, turbulence move modifier. So let me try this at 0.1. That's cool. It's a little too shaky. What if I flip those values? So I want a gentle, nice kind of like the wind is catching them. So let's go to turbulence amount and make that a 0.1. That's interesting. It's behaving closer to what I would want. Um, Again, it's still a little too animated. Let me try turning dialing this down by a factor of 10. That might be too low. What if I change the turbulence, double the turbulence amount? So this turbulence amount might be the frequency. Oh Josh, let's look at the code and see if I can suss out the details of that. So entities, particle, turbulence. Okay. Okay. So Perlin noise get height, rand x, rand y time plus lifetime times turbulence amount. So it looks like the move modifier is simply just scaling, and it looks like the amount determines the magnitude, I assume between 0 and 1. I'm not entirely sure. Um, cool. So let me just keep playing with that in DelvEdit and see where we get. So I think I need to maybe increase that because I think that's looking closer to what I would want. Maybe the z z velocity is too much still, so 0625. Yeah, I think this is definitely getting there. Like, let me just copy over these amounts, and we can keep tweaking it. But yeah, and I think it's just playing around with the lifetime and kind of making sure. Um, yeah, I'm thinking if I want to say this, the particles are on the CPU side, Chris, but I'm not entirely for certain. Yeah, so it looks like I think what Chad is doing is he is using Perlin noise, and he's mapping the actual XY coords, or he's mapping the coordinates of the world space into the Perlin noise to get a nice kind of gradient. If you kind of understand how Perlin noise works, because I think Perlin noise is semi-continuous, and you can get a nice kind of movement out of that. I'd like it to move slower though. Like I still want. It seems to me, I feel like it moves just a little, like a touch too fast. Um, if this was 1, how does that affect it? Does that make it? That makes it like vibrate. Again, make that might be closer. Maybe I want to. I think I want to slow that down on the move modifier. I think that is the magnitude. There we go. Well, so I want them to. So I want the magnitude of the move to be wider, or 0.05. But I want it to more slowly move, so maybe the turbulence amount is the correct thing to tweak there. Yeah, I think this is a suitable place to be. So let me just copy over these properties. Okay, don't need that anymore. So here I want to do something like where my velocity is 0, 0, 625. What else? I think my turbulence was well, my lifetime is 250. Let's get that. Fulbright, check collision, floating. So I also want to grab my turbulence amount and turbulence move modifier. So P dot turbulence amount is equal to 0.025 and P dot turbulence move modifier is equal to 0.05. That Z looks correct. I think, were there any other properties we tweaked that I need to set? I probably do need to implement the spread eventually, but yeah, let's try that. So let's get out of there. Let's launch the desktop runner again, and yeah, let's do it. Play. Yeah, Chris is saying it's so cold that even the snowflakes are shivering. Yeah, so again, just trying to. I was playing with the values of the particle. I mean, particle systems are kind of that weird beast where there's just so many knobs that you can tweak that like it takes a while to kind of iterate through and find one that does the thing you're looking for. Hey. I think it's wing slope, man. So just wanted to. I didn't change the so that. So let me. Okay, the lifetime might be too much, and also the interval might be too fast. So the interval, make that 30. Make the lifetime say 200, and then for the Z acceleration, let's go have it. All right, let's see how that looks. Cool, I have one to start off with. So monsters, debug, slow guy. Over here. Okay, so I'm still thinking that maybe how much the particle spread is way too much. I think that was the move amount. Let me dial that back. The turbulence move modifier. So make that a quarter. There we go. Let me think. Okay, that's looking okay. I think what I want to do also is maybe also do the scaling. I'm not a huge fan of pixel scaling, but I think it'll probably make it look better than just them popping out. So let me go back to my poison effect, and I think all I did there was what did I do? My poison effect, and I think I just have a start scale and end scale. So let's do that here. And see what that looks like. And of course, I killed him. Because apparently the debug monsters don't have a lot of health. And I threw him down the hole, which is not good. Let's put one up here where we can actually see him.
Over here.
And just wing him if we can. There we go. I might want to slow that spawn rate down. But yeah, I think having them fade out is better. Yeah, so let's do something like particle intervals even slower. Yeah. Also thinking about it, I'm not sure if I need any, so I know I put the overrides in for on status begin and on status end. Right now, I'm not really sure if we need them per se. Because if I recall correctly, the monster speed is handled elsewhere. Wands, Joshua. Sometimes I'm so bad at clicking. Ice wand. So try just to wing him. There we go. Yeah, I think that's looking all right. I can almost even do like the little like when it's cold out and you can see your breath. I might be able to do something like that. I don't know. Let me actually play the game a little bit just to see how this actually looks, like actually being used, and make sure that it actually works in a real kind of playthrough and not just my little. Yeah, I think at this stage though, the Ice Wand is probably going to kill everything I run against, but we'll see. That.
Hello?
Hey.
Yeah, so they usually some folks get stuck in the drink down there. I think it's helpful to know when they're slowed and when they're not. But I just don't know if it like now that it's like I don't know if the slow effect used to be more pronounced than it is. I'm just not sure. Right now it doesn't feel super effective. Let me see. Pertip Gap says, by the way, I love the tree. Can you please have the option to always have it on? I'm not quite sure what you mean by the tree. And of course I set myself on fire. Nothing like a little bit of ale to change my outlook on being on fire. Yeah, Chris brings up a good point. It looks like because I'm not randomizing the position of the particle start at all, they always kind of start behind. Yeah, I can fix that. Let's fix that. So poison effect, we just do, let's do this. Let's just copy that. let's paste it down here. So what this is going to do is, so scale right now is 1. I guess I get, so let's just add this in, right? So float scale. And then here we can just say it's 1.0f. Spread mod. What is spread mod? Oh, that's for the, okay. So this is stuff for the player. So I'll copy that too because we want it to play nice with the player. Again, if the player gets slowed, we want it to be in a better spot. So that should handle that. Real quick, I need to take a small break, but I will be back, I promise. Let me just do my old apologize, folks. Today is January 1st, 2017, and I will return at, say, 13:35. And I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's just test that, right? So the changes should be good, but let's verify, and also let's see if we can slow ourselves to make sure that it makes sense. So, oh, the Christmas tree? You always want the Christmas tree on? I tell you what, we could probably, since we are doing workshop support, this update, maybe I can make the Christmas tree into a mod and use it as a test instance for the workshop. So if you always want Christmas trees, you can always get them. How about that? How about, I can also make it so that any of the cedar or fir trees have a chance to be a Christmas tree. Okay, let me see. Let's play. Okay, erase and play. So I'm gonna try to I'm gonna spawn a bunch of potions and see if I can find a slow one and then see if I can affect myself with it. So that is restore health. So potions red. Okay, that was also a restoration one. Potions green. I think I just drank a blue one. That one's fine. So green is poison, and you see the poison particles coming out of me, which I think is helpful. Let me see. So that was green. Purple. What does purple do? Let me let these other effects wear off, so it's not so. Okay, so 2. Okay, there's another restoration potion. That seems weird. Potions dark. Iron skin. Potions gold. I feel stuck. Yeah, so this was was a paralyzation potion, but I think for the player we just put a slow effect, so I think that's okay. Yeah. And also, I think there are certain creatures that shoot slowness. Let me just double check that. So wand, or not wand, stun. Potions, bright. And what does this one do? Just to go through all of them. Arcane. So yeah, so it seems like, okay, so I'll play a little bit more, just to get a good feel for the ice wand, and see if I can somehow get myself slowed. Who does that? I want to say some of the mages have a chance to slow you. Like the skeleton mages, maybe? Okay. Cool. And also, for folks who have been playing, I'm really keen to get feedback about the archery stuff. That's the stuff I kind of really like picked up and ran with by myself. But Chad did come in and fix a lot of the physics to make it behave well. But the thing I'm worried about is the arrow economy. So I want beautiful. I want to know what folks who have played, who have tried archer builds, how it's working out for them. So he'd be on fire and slowed? Oh, there's a chance for fire. Oh, come on. Wow, this trap is taking a long time to reset. There we go. Now set your buddy on fire because you're touching him. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so chat is informing me that they're pretty sure the skeletal mages cast slow. I'm pretty sure too. So let me see if I can just survive one of their hits, because I'm more worried about them one hitting me than anything. Yeah. So I'm slowed and I'm creating little snow particles, but it didn't last terribly long. Yeah, now he's killed me. So Chris says he's found himself running out of arrows, but not very quickly. Okay, so maybe the arrow economy is close to being correct, which is good. Again, I'll kind of keep an eye on that and tweak that. It's kind of my pet project. What else? Per type gap says it would be nice to have a quiver to increase the amount of arrows one can carry. As far as I know, like there is no limit to the number of arrows you can carry. It should stack infinitely, or as long as, I mean, I think it's bound by whatever the int max is, which is pretty large. Okay, so I think the slow stuff is actually in a decent enough. It's a decent enough spot that I can actually check it in. For some reason, I closed out my GitHub. I'll probably before release, I'll come back and tweak some stuff. Maybe add an additional particle or something. Maybe tweak how fast they, like, maybe I will probably play with it, but I'm happy with where it is right now. So let's just go ahead and commit our changes so we don't lose them. So let's say snowflake particles for slow effect. Commit and sync. Pertep Gap said, I found a new bow economy to favor towards just having food and potion instead of bows and arrows. That's what do you mean? That how did I so when I say bow economy, I mean the amount of arrows that you find when playing as an archer. And there should be no stack limit to arrows. You should be able to stack those. Pretty sure. Forever. Let me take a peek. Entities, projectiles, missile, item stack. Yeah, right here we just increment it, so you should be able to stack arrows. Count as an integer, so whatever max int is. So like a very large number, like in the billions, I think. So I did commit the slow status effect changes. No worries. I mean, that's kind of part of what I'm doing here is just to talk, because again, a lot of these systems we aren't super clear about, and so yeah, feel free to ask me questions, and I'll clarify as best I can. And maybe I'm wrong too. Maybe there's something else that checks the cap, but as far as I understand, it doesn't. Um, yeah, and Chris, that's an excellent feature. I want to have. Um, I think it would be good to have some sort of contextual HUD element that knows if you're using a bow or a wand, and it will just display the remaining shots you have left. I think that would be a good quality of life feature for those sorts of items. And yeah, so I have spoke about the upcoming update. I haven't actually planned it out. For those of you who are familiar with software development, I have been trying to play a bit of a project manager. So that basically entails just trying to figure out project or product, however you want to call it. Like um, I've been at places that use one or the other, and I've been at places that use both. But basically, I've been trying to maintain a list of features and bugs and assign those to different updates and schedule the updates just so like because I feel we need the organization. Because for the most of the project's life, we've just kind of worked on stuff ad hoc. Like we just work on what we think is cool, which is great, but that's not a great way to do. That's not a great way to work if you actually want to finish something. So I'm trying to have nice concrete deadlines and trying to have things well defined so we know how close we are to a finishing update and also how close we are to finishing the release. So yeah, so I've been also playing project manager in addition to art guy, in addition to community manager. So small team, lots of hats. Um, cool. Um, Runder Crease says hi. Hi. Hey, Runder Crease. Um, so that was this is a start for um, the cold status, the slow status effect, which I think is a good place to start. Oh, let me actually just go ahead and clean these out too, since we're not actually making use of them. I don't need them. So again, let's just give it a run, just make sure I haven't broken the world. But um, I don't if I'm not actually going to do anything on the start or end, I don't need them. Maybe I will, but right now I'm not. Ba, 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 ba. So Pertev Gap says, speaking of project development, and what are your opinions regarding people simply getting fed up with playing early access games before they are finished? If you could clarify, do you want my opinions on a player's perspective playing early access games or a developer's access making early access games? In your question, which side is getting fed up? Monsters.
Hey!
Yep, looks like yeah, that was a safe change. Let me just commit it. Um, so remove unused. Um, cleaning. Okay. So the other status effects. So for your folks' opinions, um, so I think it would be like it would be useful if you know that you have healed the enemies. So like a restore health effect. Um, but would that be obnoxious if it was on the player? Does that make sense? Like maybe like little like hearts or little cross symbols can come out. What do you guys think about that? Especially for like shield or some of the other status effects. Like, would that be useful or would that be obnoxious? I think it would be useful for knowing if the enemy had that status effect, but I'm not sure what people think about having it for the player. Render Chris says, I like the style of your game. Thank you very kindly. So I guess you might be just coming to the stream. So I guess for the folks, so yeah, so let me just start from the top. Hi, I'm Joshua. I am the artist for the game Delver, which is the game I'm working on right now. Um, so for those of you who don't know, you can go to delvergame.com. This is the game I'm making. It is a procedural first-person dungeon crawler roguelike. It has an old school look because I like that. It's what I grew up with. It's what I dig. Old school is also fairly quick for me to make. So that's also good because we work on this in our free time. Like we're not like we don't work on this full time. It would be cool, but like financially it doesn't make any sense. So we work on it in our free time because Chad has a day job and I am a stay-at-home father. Um, what else? Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, since I'm the main artist slash only artist most of the time, we do some contract stuff for animation and promotional materials. All the way the game looks is definitely up to me and I own. Um, Pertup Gap says, as in a typical gamer putting several hours into an unfinished product, enjoying it, and then moving on to a different game before the game is complete. How does the developer feel that people have judged your product without experiencing the full game? It's a weird thing, right? Like, um, so I guess so I was so off stream I was talking to Chris, and I guess my personal opinion is, as the developer of an early access game, when we update, I try to get the update to a good bar of quality. And my thinking there is, um, so let's say something catastrophic happens, like something like really major, and we have to stop the project. I want to make sure that every time we update, that the project is in a good enough state and it's a complete enough product that if it was never updated again, it would be okay. That's not our intention. Our intention is to complete the darn thing and make it as good as we can. But I always try to leave the product in the best state possible. And depending upon developers' views on this, like some folks just update super frequently, and sometimes it's crazy broken. Um, yeah. As far as people playing my game and never coming back to it, I've actually spoken to a lot of players who do come back to it once they realize that we're doing semi-regular updates, which is really cool. And that's just kind of a messaging thing. But yeah, if somebody played the game 2 years ago, enjoyed it, and never come back, well, I mean that I can't do anything about that. I mean, yeah. I guess my ultimate goal is just to make something that's good and that people enjoy. And whether you play the final product or whether you played an early version of it, as long as you had a good time and you didn't think we didn't waste your time and we didn't waste your money, then I'm cool. So Chris said that the HUD text is pretty sufficient. Um, I don't want to get rid of the text because Chris was just saying, okay, so if we got rid of the text and made more diegetic or more like in-world effects to communicate stuff, um, I don't know if I want to keep the text. I think the text is useful. Um, so yeah, I'll mull that over. Maybe I'll prototype it out and see if it seems reasonable. Um, yeah, so Chris is also a developer of an early access game. Let me plug his stuff because I'm super proud of what his team has done. Uh, so their game is called Sky Noon. You can go to lunarrooster.com. It is like, uh, from what I've heard of this, I haven't played it yet, I'm really excited to play it. But it's kind of like a Western first-person shooter version of uh, Smash, if that's right. But yeah, they also are going through the same thing of hopefully they can learn from like Delver's mistakes and manage. Like I guess the big thing is like managing community expectations. You know. Oh, so Skyrim is not early access. They're gonna. Okay, cool. So it looks like they're intentionally avoiding, or are you intentionally avoiding early access just to have a full release? So you got greenlit, but you're not doing early access. Okay, I guess that is a route. That's cool. Michael says, "Hi Joshua, Happy New Year." Hey, Michael, Happy New Year. Hopefully things are going well for you, and yeah, hopefully you can do some. So Michael also is a game developer. He does some small projects here and there. He's made a few Android games. Hopefully 2017 will be a good year for you, and you can create some cool stuff. And I'd love to talk about it when you do. Um, so Pertive Gap says, I also realize how Minecraft popularized the early access method. People expect early access games to be developed indefinitely. Yeah, that's something we're trying to fight. Because like we're not a Minecraft, we're not a Terraria, so we can't like I mean, in theory, we could update forever, but it's not financially feasible. And I would just like to make a good game and have it done. And that's kind of why I'm pushing for good Steam Workshop integrations, such that people can make it their own thing, and that's really cool. Um, and I mean, maybe if Delver sells well when we release, we'll commit time to doing updates. But I mean, that's an if, and that's not a guarantee, you know. It's an interesting model, but I think Minecraft is the exception and not the actual like norm because you know they can afford to work on it for a very long time. Skynoon will not be early access. It will be full release on consoles. They're gonna do a big round of marketing publisher. Oh, cool! Yeah, yeah. That sounds like a smart move, Chris. Yeah. Would I do early access again? I don't know. That's a hard question about me. A hard question for me to answer. My feelings go both ways on it. Pertep Gap says, "What about DLC?" Um, I don't know. Like, I kind of just want you to have the game, and once you own the game, you got it. Like, I'd rather just do updates and not DLC. I know some games recently have done DLC where you don't get anything. You can just give the developer more money, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know. There's so many options, you know. Um, again, I'm just more focused on making a good thing. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left on my stream. I really appreciate all these good questions that we have coming in. I think we've had a decently productive stream. We have, you know, the status effects going, nice little particle effect on the cold, which I think will be helpful. Um, so Dr. Keagle's suggesting a soundtrack DLC. Yeah, so Chad and I have been talking about the soundtrack, and we would like to figure out a way for folks to get it who want it. What shape that will take, I can't say right now, but it is something we are definitely considering because enough folks have asked for it um, that we think you know it would be worth our time to do. Okay, I can just play the last few minutes, and while you folks keep firing questions, I'll do my best to answer them. All right, let's go. It's interesting too. When I was a few weekends ago, I was at an event called G2, which stands for, I guess, Gaming and Experimental Entertainment. And um, some folks took to Delver like a fish to water, and they did what I did. They immediately ran towards the dungeon and entered it. And then some folks would spend like 5, 10 minutes just kind of exploring a campfire area. So that's an interesting, like it's an interesting challenge because I think we kind of position ourselves as a fairly light and casual game, but there are still some pretty there are like lots of FPS tropes that we assume the player knows that they actually might not. Um, and I'm not sure if it's us if it's worth our time fixing them or what.
Who was that?
Because I've tried to light the dungeon so you can see where it is. I have a road leading directly to it. I'm trying to do all these little cues, but yet some people still get lost. So it looks like Productive Gap says, I personally just like having games developed indefinitely due to the fact that it allows the development of a lively community around the game developer integration set of a community that sparks up and dies within a few months. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um, and I think the ability to mod Delver um, will actually help the community stay around a little bit. I mean, um, mods tend to help with that. Um, yeah, I don't know, like I hope Delver has longevity. I hope I hope that folks play it for a while, but I also hope that new folks find it every year, which would be cool. Um, I don't know. These are my hopes. I have no real evidence to support them. Um, whoa, whoa. Again, I think we're just trying to make the best thing we can, and hopefully quality just you know is the ultimate like. Um, so let's do that. Keep a spare weapon just in case. That quality helps the tail last long. Yay, Ice Wand. Let's use you. Let's zap some folks. Or get zapped by a trap. Yeah, at this level in the dungeon, it's just the Ice Wand is so powerful. Also, with the new update, have folks been playing any differently with the wands? I hope they have, but again, I haven't. I try to raise as much feedback as I can. Let me see. Oh, lots of chat. Let me read through chat. Yeah, so Perdo Gap says they economically agree with me. Undertale was the biggest thing of 2015, early 2016, but now the community has disappeared, save for a few fan-making games. Well, so the thing with Undertale, as I understand it, it is a narrative game. Granted, you can play through it several times. So I think narrative games do have a lifetime. Well, yes and no. Like people, like I have not played it yet, so I will probably purchase it and play it sometime in the future. I think our game being procedural helps it last a little bit longer. Let me see. Dupus Digital says, have you considered doing something like the Indie Box after the game is released? In case you don't know, the Indie Box is a box that contains the flash drive. Oh, so yeah, basically, I think the Indie Box basically. Um, so for those of you who don't remember the olden days when you'd walk into a video game store and buy a physical copy of things, I think the Indie Box creates a an actual physical box that you can buy the game in, which is pretty cool. And actually, if you folks don't know, I actually created a fake box art for our game. Let me pull that up real quick and share it with you. Delver promo. Yeah, this is it's just a hacked version of Sam Cube's art, but basically, I wanted to make it look like the old. If you remember the old gold box TSR games, I wanted to make it look like that. So that's what I was kind of doing. Just adding, um, those games had a very kind of distinct look, and I wanted to kind of imitate that. So I think it would be cool to have like a box that looks like the old TSR games. Um, yeah, Chris agrees that workshop support keep the game alive. Pretty lo-fi, yeah. So again, yeah, that's another consideration too. Is we try to keep the how you create things simple so people can easily make mods for it. And I think the lo-fi element certainly helps with that. Like all you need is like MS Paint, really, and you can make new items for the game. We have the editor, so you can make new levels for the game without much work. Productive Gap says, have you considered Patreon? I've thought about Patreon, and it's an interesting proposition. Maybe maybe once I finish Delver, and because after Delver, my roadmap isn't super clear. I mean, I'd love to work with Chad on another project, but that just depends on like whether he has time to do that, whether he has interest in doing that. Um, but maybe uh, Patreon could be cool. I really have to spend some time thinking about what my patrons would be getting. Like if I had a Patreon, what would you folks be interested in? Would it be just like a small game every so often? Would it be tutorials? Like what would work for you there? Um, Fury McFlurry says these pixels look so good. Good stuff. Thank you, thank you. I love pixel art, so um, and I love making it. And I think that's a nice thing too. Is uh, I think the game will age pretty well because it's already aged. Like some of the newer tech stuff doesn't age well because a lot of the techniques and practices aren't really figured out when they first start making them. But when you start using older tech, like especially pixel art, like pixel art has been around a long time, and there's a nice kind of, um, I guess, language and techniques built up around it where we can talk about qualities of pixel art and what makes it good, what makes it bad. Um, and I really enjoy pixel art, and I spend a lot of time, um, sucker, um, trying to make good pixel art. And I think part of my New Year resolution is as I like I said, I want to make I want to try to get into the daily art habit. So maybe I'll do a stream more frequently of non-Delver stuff if you guys would be interested of me just working on art. Cool lantern. Let's put the lantern in my offhand. Ba, 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 ba. Get closer. There we go. Let me see. Michael says on the box breaking reminds me of mid-state. Would be cool to play your players. The feedback says the box hitting is effective. Yeah. So for the box, we actually do. Chad added a little bit of logic to breakables, so that if you hit a breakable, it will wiggle. Just to give you feedback that you can break it. Maybe we could up the wiggle so it's a little bit more noticeable. Not quite sure. Um, ba, 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 ba. Runner Christ says, what inspired Delver? So Delver is inspired by all the games I love from the Trunks War and Short Bow of the War. So it's a yeah. So it's inspired by all the games I love from the 1990s because that's kind of when I really came into my full gaming maturity. So games like Doom, games like Ultima Underworld, games like Daggerfall. Oh, I love Daggerfall so much. Um, and Heretic and Hexen, obviously. So I've loved the look of those games, and I love the fact that they were pretty simple. Like you could go from the menu to playing within a matter of moments, and we're trying to I always talk about complex versus complicated. Like we want to keep the player inputs to a minimum, so it's not complicated. Like I don't want you to have to memorize like crazy keyboard layouts. Like that's the thing that gets me about some of these old roguelikes is like every key on the keyboard does something, and that just takes a long time to actually figure out how to be like proficient in just playing the game. So here, that's why we stick to a lot of the FPS tropes. So that way, if you know how to play, especially like this is paid off in spades for kids. Because when I demo the game to children, I say, hey, have you ever played Minecraft? And they say, yeah. I say, well, same controls. And then they just take it and they run with it, which is really cool. So we're trying to have a game that has complex interactions between the things in the games, but it's not complicated to play. Again, that's why I'm trying to give as much visual feedback as I can. Yeah. And I get lots of good feedback from my players, and I try to listen to that. Let's go down. Um, uh, bu- 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 so Z Vengeance says, "Hi man, first time here." So yeah, so first time viewers. This is basically the end of my stream. I'm sorry. So my name is Joshua. I am the art guy for this game. This game is called Delver. As you might have sussed out, it's a dungeon crawler. It's also procedurally generated. So every time you play, the dungeon's a little bit different, different level layout, different enemy layout. The loot you get is different, um, which has been a blast to make. My sweet sword just broke. Crap. Um, get rid of you. But I have a backup sword and a hammer. Um, I am the art guy. This is a passion project because we've been working on it for. I've been on it 3 years. Chad has been on it 4 years. We're trying to make the best game we can. Um, blah, 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 blah. And I do all the arts. I do a lot of the level design. I do community management. I do release management, project management. I mean, we since we're a two-man team, we basically have to just do what needs to be done at any given time. This is my weekly stream, so every Sunday I stream development. I talk to folks who are interested in Delver, and I kind of let them know for the next update what I'm working on, what I'm thinking about. They can watch how I make the game. Because the game is very moddable, I think this is actually fairly useful information because you can actually watch the stream and then go and, this is a sucky sword, you can actually make content for Delver. Get rid of that. I think this hammer probably will be better. Yeah. So hopefully there's some value in that. What else? Shoko Bundy says, "Gotta say, all the art and music of Delver is some of the most charming in recent years." Thank you. Yeah, that's very, very kind of you to say. Like, I always try to err on the side of being, ooh, Wizard's excellent ring of speed. It's a nice ring. I try to err on the side of being kind of cute and being more representative than realistic. So that's very kind of you to say. Like we try to just have like we try to be bright and colorful. I try to be cheery. So the fact that you're murdering people isn't so heavy, I guess. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Dr. Kegel says, "Why did I stop announcing death dates on Steam?" Oh, that's a good point. I guess some folks check that. Yeah, I will start doing that again. I think I stopped because I'm bad at social media. Sorry, folks. I will keep posting. I just feel bad because it's just me bumping a single thread forever. Do folks actually notice that? I try to just modify the thread to let people know that every Sunday it's a thing. Um, yeah, feedback. Let me know. Please let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and what you'd like to see me work on. Because that is a lot of what this stream is about. Pertev Gaptus, I would like Delver updates for Patreon backing. Um, yeah. Pixelgent says hello. Hello, Pixelgent. Chris says for Patreon, I guess more game dev doing this kind of thing. Doesn't have to be Delver, to be honest. I'm actually interested in what you do next. Thank you, Chris. That's very kind of you to say. Chris has never done a Patreon before, but I'd probably consider it for this. Cool. Yeah, Doofus Digital says doing something like Pixel Daily sounds fun. I tried doing it last year. I missed day one, and then forgot about it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try. I've been tossing this around in my head, and I'm so afraid I'm gonna fail, but I'm gonna try to do Pixel dailies for all of January. So I've set it, so hopefully I'll stick to it. And actually, I might try to do a little stream today of me working on that, if you folks are interested. Um, Michael says Arx Fatalis. So I've been meaning to play Arx Fatalis, but I haven't actually got to it. Seahawk Blue says, hello, hello, Seahawk Blue. I'm assuming you are a local Seattle person, which is cool. Ooh, excellent composite bow. Let's do that for a while. Ecto Warrior says, wow, this game looks really cool. Thank you. I try to make it look as cool as I can. I'm the art guy for it, so
Over
try to make
here.
as beautiful art. I think like one of the takeaways from showing the game, like whenever I've showed the game, people seem to enjoy it. So I think the real hard part for us to be successful is actually just getting people to get eyeballs on the game, which is like marketing and promotion, which is hard because that's like by trade, I am a software engineer, and that's just something they don't really talk about, right? They talk about making you a good engineer, but they never talk about um, that was not smart. And I drank poison, of course. Um, like actually like managing products, right? That's a whole
Hey.
different beast. Like making a thing is one thing, but like selling it is a whole nother thing. I think a lot of us developers kind of naively assume like if you build it, they will come. Um, and to be honest, it's a high risk thing, right? Because um, if you get lucky, yeah, somebody will notice you and you'll blow up and you'll have a lot of success. But like, I don't think that's not a you can't plan on that, right? Like I've tried to figure out a way to make games in a sustainable fashion, right? Like right now, I am blessed that my wife can support can support me, while I'm a stay-at-home father trying to get this game dev thing going. Um, bu- 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 Part of the app says I added lava under the iron grating. Yeah, that's been there for a very long time. Yeah, that's yep. Um, so if I do try Arcs, so Michael says if I try Arcs Fatalis, play with the Arcs Liberatus mod for modern playability. Yeah, so if I understand correctly, is it a mod or is it a whole new engine? I do my best to keep up with all these retro games because they are my bread and butter, and I'm always curious to see what folks are doing with them. Um, cool, thanks for that recommendation. So let me just do my little sign out thing because I am overtime. I try to spend 2 hours talking about Delver, working on Delver, talking to you folks, getting feedback. So for those of you who don't know, delvergame.com is how you can find out more about the game. We are in Steam Early Access, so if you want to support us there, you certainly can. It's $7.99. There's also a Humble widget if you scroll down. If that's your sort of thing, you can certainly do that with the Humble widget. You also get a Steam key. Steam is the platform we update the most frequently. Um, you have to talk to Chad about why the other builds are lagging behind. No blame, just I think there are either either administrative or just other reasons why those builds lag behind. If you want, so this is my regular Sunday development stream for Delver. You can always tune back on my Twitch channel every Sunday at noon. Though I think next week I have a thing at noon, so I might push it to a little bit earlier. Um, but yeah, you can follow me here on Twitch at Joshua Skelly. You can follow me on Twitter at Joshua Skelly. Occasionally, when I have free time, being a stay-at-home dad, I don't have a lot of free time. But when I do have free time, I try to do bonus development streams, and those kind of come up last minute. So following me is a good way to figure out about those. Other than that, let me check my cheat sheet, make sure I'm not missing anything. Again, I want to thank everybody for supporting me both financially by buying the game and just by hanging out um, with me on my stream. That really means a lot to me. I look forward to every Sunday hanging out with you and working. Um, I think that's all. I've rambled on long enough. Happy New Year, everybody. I will see you in a week. Take care. You're the best.